It's a revolutionary idea in modern physiology that connective tissue shrinks. Connective tissue shrinks all the time. If you went to school, medical school, and your textbook didn't have that in it, and you hear that there are people out there actually challenging the range of motion of their joints, you're going to be horrified. Because they will say to themselves, because this is what they've been taught, connective tissue does not stretch, number one. Number two, if you succeed in stretching it, all you're going to do is destabilize your joints, and you're going to get funny wear on the joint surfaces and give yourself arthritis later. The logic is correct. The premise that they were taught in school, that connective tissue doesn't stretch and doesn't respond to training, is wrong. And I have a paper that I will give you. It's a summary of this guy's research. Larry Donner's in the University of North Carolina. He's not a yogi. He didn't undertake the study to validate yoga one way or the other. He did it to study the frozen shoulder syndrome. Grandma falls down. Grandma breaks her wrist. Grandma's put in a sling for 8 weeks because it takes old people a long time for their bones to heal. You take Grandma out of the sling, the most difficult part of rehabilitation is her shoulder. The one that was never hurt and has been resting in a sling for 8 weeks. Now it's like this. So he took up the study of it. And in a nutshell, it's like he discovered connective tissue is contracting all the time. Always has been. He says, and in his paper, it's wryly humorous. He doesn't quite put it that way, but he says, we've known for decades, I don't know which study he's talking about, we've known for decades that connective tissue gets micro tears in it every day, just from living. At the microscopic level, just from living, you get little tears in your body. And if you're doing athletic activity, yoga and other things, you might get even bigger minor little tears in your body at the microscopic level. But it's no big deal because the body repairs itself all the time, every day. But what he says in the paper is what we should have put together is there must have been a shortening mechanism repairing those tears, because if all we did was patch in new material with every micro tear, by the time you were 30, your knuckles should be on the ground. But that doesn't happen. You actually lose your range of motion. So he says, since we know that tears occur, and we know that tears were being repaired, we should have known a long time ago and looked for that these things shorten up when they repair. They don't tear, add some in, tear again, add some more in, tear again, add some more in. Again, your knuckles would be on the ground. So in the normal everyday tear, fix, there had to be a shortening mechanism. And he demonstrated it in this paper over 10 years of research. And it's the perfect yin and yang. There is a force in your body that is constantly trying to contract your connective tissue. And movement of electrical stimulus through these tissues, what he calls a stress-generated electrical potential, softens the tissues and let them spread apart and grow. If we didn't have that, we didn't have both of those mechanisms, the body couldn't regulate itself. And so connective tissue is misnamed. Connective tissue should be called meridian tissue. And it shrinks and it grows with the amount of chi that flows through it. And that's another discussion. It shrinks and it grows with the amount of chi that goes through it. You've had these experiences in your life, you just haven't examined them. If you've ever had the flu or been very ill, what happens to your spine? Shrinks up like a board and you can hardly bend it. Well, if it were your muscles that were doing that, you'd be in spasm all day. Everyone knows what a muscle spasm feels like. Get a spasm in your foot, get a spasm in your leg. It is not the muscle tension that pulls you like that. It's the connective tissue. The chi flow becomes obstructed and it shrinks aggressively. And you're like this. I think I have the flu coming on because I can't move. Next time you get the flu or something, you'll feel that.